The opinions of far-right activist and conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer are considered far too radical for most mainstream Republicans. So imagine their alarm when rumors began to swirl about her relationship with GOP candidate Trump. But are the rumors true? It's not uncommon to hear critics claim that a powerful woman somehow used her body to get where she is. In fact, Laura Loomer once took to X to insinuate that Vice President Kamala Harris used sex to achieve success. But Loomer asked for grace when, on an episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, Maher repeated a rumor that has since been emphatically denied, saying of Loomer,
"She's very close to Trump. She's 31, looks like his type."
On an episode of her podcast, Loomer Unleashed, the far-right activist denied having an affair with Trump, insisting that the press would be going nuts if she were a left-wing journalist.
Oh my God, they're misogynists, they're bullying a woman, they're trying to Monica Lewinsky her.
Sadly, this didn't prevent Loomer in the very next breath from doubling down on her previous claims about Vice President Harris. Loomer has been known to visit Trump's various country clubs. In fact, she was in the audience at Mar-A-Lago when, just after pleading not guilty of falsifying business records in a New York courtroom, Trump gave a speech reiterating his claim of innocence. He would, of course, be found guilty of all charges months later. This wasn't the only time Loomer made an appearance at one of Trump's golf clubs. On August 13, 2023, she took to X to share a photo of herself sitting beside the presidential candidate at the Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster. In the caption, she explained she was invited to sit with him in his private box.
She's the new groupie in Trump's circle.
In a separate X post, Loomer added, "He wanted me to sit next to him all day, and it was the best day ever." On September 11, 2024, Loomer accompanied Trump to a memorial marking the 23rd anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. The candidate's decision to invite Loomer to the event was viewed as strange, as the far-right activist had previously spread conspiracy theories regarding the attacks.
A 9/11 truther at a 9/11 ceremony. Is that like an atheist going to Easter Mass?
For example, in June 2023, Loomer shared a post to X that included a video titled 9/11 was an inside job. Although Loomer has since denied the post, screenshots continue to circulate on the internet. Unfortunately, many of the people harmed by her rhetoric are the surviving victims of the attack. John Feel, a 9/11 first responder who later founded the Feel Good Foundation, a nonprofit that provides support to first responders injured on the job, talked to CNN about Loomer, saying, "Two things happened after a historic event like 9/11, advocacy and conspiracy theories. I chose the advocacy." Then he addressed Loomer's conspiracy theories.
She needs help. She's miserable, she said, and she wants to share that with as many people as she can.
On September 8, 2024, Loomer posted a photograph of Vice President Harris and her family to X. In the caption, Loomer attacked Harris's Indian heritage, writing, "If Kamala Harris wins, the White House will smell like curry and White House speeches will be facilitated via a call center. And the American people will only be able to convey their feedback through a customer satisfaction survey at the end of the call that nobody will understand."
This woman makes Marjorie Taylor Greene sound like Madeleine Albright.
These comments were later denounced by candidate Trump's running mate J.D. Vance, whose wife, Usha Vance, is the descendant of Indian immigrants. In an interview with Meet the Press, Vance soft-pedaled,
"I make a mean chicken curry. I don't think that it's insulting for anybody to talk about their dietary preferences or what they want to do in the White House."
However, Vance went on to add,
"Do I agree with what Laura Loomer said about Kamala Harris? No, I don't."
When pushed harder on whether he was offended by Loomer's attack, Vance hedged.
"I don't like those comments."
He went on to say that Loomer was best ignored, stating,
"I also don't look at the internet for every single thing to get offended by."
Vance wasn't the only major Republican figure to denounce Loomer's comments about Vice President Harris's ethnicity. Controversial Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene also came out in opposition to what she viewed as blatant racism. In a post shared to X, Greene called for Loomer to delete her offensive tweet, saying, "This is appalling and extremely racist. It does not represent who we are as Republicans or MAGA. This does not represent President Trump. This type of behavior should not be tolerated ever."
I didn't even know there was a level of racist above Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's like finding out a movie can be rated NC-39.
Greene's tweet garnered quite a bit of support from her fellow Republicans. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina applauded the Congresswoman's words, despite their history of political disagreements. Speaking to HuffPost, Graham said, "Marjorie Taylor Greene is right. I don't say that a lot. I think what Loomer said about Kamala Harris and the White House is abhorrent." Graham then went on to take issue with some of Loomer's previous comments, saying, I mean, some of the things she's said about Republicans and others is disturbing. The senator specifically referenced a time when Loomer allegedly told Claudia Conway, the daughter of Republican political consultant Kellyanne Conway, to take her own life. Graham summed up Loomer, saying, "The history of this person is just really toxic." Although Loomer may seem like a die-hard Republican, her affiliation isn't necessarily to a political party, but rather to Trump himself. This was evident in January 2024 when Loomer harassed then-aspiring Republican presidential nominee Ron DeSantis. While DeSantis was still on the campaign trail in Iowa, Loomer accosted him in his hotel with a camera and a series of pointed questions.
Hey, Governor, when are you going to drop out? Are you going to be endorsing President Trump when you drop out the night of the Iowa caucus?
This episode may have been one of the factors that strengthened Loomer's ties to Trump, who shared the video on his Truth Social account. And according to another of Loomer's ex-posts, Trump walked over to me to take a picture with me, telling me how thankful he was for all of my work exposing Ron DeSantis. People close to Trump have verified her claim, including an anonymous insider who told NBC News he likes what she did with DeSantis. Trump may appreciate Loomer's support, but not all Republicans feel the same way. Many top politicians worry about what it would mean for their party to associate with Loomer, considering some of the more controversial things she's said and done. For example, she accused DeSantis of embellishing the details surrounding his wife's cancer diagnosis, posting on X, "Personally, I think Jill's health has been over-exaggerated in a desperate effort to get votes for DeSantis." These sorts of comments have been off-putting to many. Tom Tillis, a Republican senator from North Carolina, made his feelings on Loomer clear in his own post on X, writing, "Laura Loomer is a crazy conspiracy theorist who regularly utters disgusting garbage intended to divide Republicans. A DNC plant couldn't do a better job than she is doing to hurt President Trump's chances of winning re-election. Enough."
She is as fringe gets.
Senator Graham told HuffPost that he hopes Trump will distance himself from Loomer, saying, "I think that the president would serve himself well to make sure this doesn't become a bigger story."
Once you hitch your wagon to Laura Loomer's car, you're stuck with it.
Or, as an anonymous Trump aide told NBC News, "Everyone who works for him thinks she's a liability." Even as many Republicans have reacted negatively to Loomer's far-right activism, Trump has praised her opinionated personality.
"You are a very opinionated lady, I have to tell you that, and in my opinion, I like that.
Well, I appreciate that.
All of your support."
Throughout the video, Loomer appeared to bask in Trump's praise. At one point, she called him, quote, "the greatest president ever." Later on, she made an awkward blurt.
You're the best. I love you.
As if there was any doubt as to how she felt about the presidential candidate, she captioned her post, "Best president ever, I love him so much." And despite mounting pressure to distance himself from Loomer, Trump seems to have embraced her. When asked about some of her more controversial statements in a September 2024 press conference in California, Trump deflected.
"I don't know what she said, but that's not up to me."
It wasn't the first time Trump supported Loomer. According to the Wall Street Journal, the former president called her out at one of his political rallies in Iowa. After asking her to stand before a roaring crowd, Trump announced, "You want to try and have her on your side." Following his press conference in California, however, Trump issued a statement on his Truth Social account, saying that Loomer isn't an official part of his campaign. In fact, he went on to state that he doesn't agree with everything Loomer says, but couldn't leave it at that, writing, "But like the many millions of people who support me, she is tired of watching the radical left Marxists and fascists violently attack and smear me, even to the point of doing anything to stop their political opponent, me." When Loomer says she loves Trump, she's not kidding.
"Laura, how are you? You look so beautiful, as always."
In one video, which Trump later promoted on his Truth Social account, Loomer described a situation in which a former romantic partner of hers criticized her dedication to the MAGA cause.
If you think that you're more important than President Trump, then you have some kind of delusional personality disorder.
Apparently, her statement didn't go over well. Loomer continued by saying, "I have to say that was the end of that relationship. President Trump's my #1 priority right now."
Donald Trump, as some of the people who have known him the longest have often said, likes people who will do anything for him. And that is something Laura Loomer will do.
Loomer might be gunning for a spot in Trump's administration should he be elected. Speaking on MSNBC's Inside with Jen Psaki, former Trump aide Sarah Matthews speculated,
And I would imagine maybe she wants to be White House press secretary.
She's posted about that before.
And that is what is most concerning to me.
Matthews went on to say that she's not a huge fan of Loomer. If anything, she's concerned about how Loomer's most extreme views could impact White House policies, warning, "This is the type of person who could potentially have the ear of the leader of the free world, someone who traffics in conspiracy theories, says racist, awful, vile things." All in all, Matthews says that she hopes Loomer stays far away from Trump's campaign and potential presidency. Although Loomer has emphatically denied having an affair with Donald Trump, it may be true that they have worked together in a professional context. Some Trump insiders have even claimed that the former president is turning to Loomer for advice, which would explain why he invited her to accompany him on his private jet leading up to the debate. According to at least one anonymous aide, Loomer was instrumental in encouraging Trump to question Vice President Kamala Harris's racial and ethnic background while speaking at the National Association of Black Journalists convention.
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
As the aide in question told CNN, he wasn't the one who came up with that talking point. Coincidentally, one only needs to look at Loomer's X account to see where she stands on the matter. In one post, Loomer claimed to have found a copy of Harris's birth certificate, writing, "Nowhere on her birth certificate does it say that she is black or African." Loomer then implied that Harris's father is white, which is untrue. Vice President Harris's parents are both known to be immigrants and people of color. Her late mother, Shyamala Gopalan, was of Indian heritage, while her father, Donald Harris, is Jamaican American.